Hey guys, sorry I'm late. My family was having a barbecue. Was posted for 2 o'clock. That ended up being pushed back. And it was supposed to start at 4. And I was going to reschedule, and then I'm like, I got people that depend on being here. And so here I am. So I'm going to be eating as we go over this. Hi, Tony. I'm going to be eating as we do this. I apologize for that, but I've need to eat. So, I apologize if I'm eating in front of you, but that's just going to be a thing today. I don't usually do that. Also, I'm without my moderator, so that's also going to be a thing. Luckily, I'm used to doing this, so it's not that big a deal. But yes, I am going to be eating in front of you, and I will get started in just a second. How you doing, Tony? Okay. Just in case, I have my pen. And we're going to get started. So today we are doing Learn to Care, which is a live, for those of you if you're new. So where I talk about an animal that is usually endangered, and we talk a little bit about the animal itself, and then we move into why it's endangered, and a little bit about what's being done to save it. So we're going to talk a little bit about the wolf, and then we'll move on to other areas. But I have to eat while we're doing this, so excuse me for that. So at one time, the wolf range covered over 2/3 of the United States. Today, their range includes Alaska, northern Michigan, northern Wisconsin, western Montana, northeast Oregon, Yellowstone area of Wyoming. So do a flip. Not if I can help it. The Mexican wolf, which is a subspecies of the gray wolf, is in East Arizona and southwest New Mexico. Gray wolves feed on a mixture of mammals, things like deer, elk, bison, and even moose, as well as smaller animals. They are even known to chase grizzly bears off their kills by working together as a group. Wolves communicate via body language, scent markings, barking, growling, and of course howling. Now, what you may not know is that wolves operate via a hierarchy. Sorry. And it's basically the alpha couple. Now, the alpha couple are the only ones in the pack that breed. And they also mate for life. Pups are born blind, deaf, and they weigh around 1 pound. They were weaned at 6 weeks. They are weaned at 6 weeks, at which time the adult pack members will feed them meat that has been regurgitated. Mother wolves will move her pups to a new den every couple of months or so. In the wild, they typically live for 13 years, and in captivity around 15 years. So, yeah. So that's a little bit about the wolf. Globally, the gray wolf, according to the IUCN Red Book page, is a species of least concern, but that isn't the entire picture. And the wolf's population trend is listed as stable. But in the United States, the wolf has been treated like a villain, and in some parts of its range, even in Europe, that's also been the case. When I started doing these Learn to Care videos or lives, I didn't want the animals to be of least concern because I wanted to highlight animals whose populations were heading towards extinction, meaning they're either endangered or critically endangered. But in the United States, the wolf is listed as threatened. But if you look into other areas of the United States, the wolf is also listed as endangered. In fact, in 46 states of the lower 48, the wolf is listed, as endangered. Sadly, the wolf is looked at as a monster. And I don't mean that literally, but we have been killing the wolf for a very long time. And when I say we, I mean people in Europe, colonialists in North America, and people in America of European descent. The wolf has suffered through excessive hunting, trapping, and habitat loss. The wolf has had periods where they've been removed from the endangered species list, as well as put back on, taken back off, put back on. It's had bounties placed on it. For instance, Wisconsin allowed a hunting season on the wolf that resulted in 218 wolves being killed. It was more than the state actually wanted to be killed. That hunt took out 20% of their population in Wisconsin in just 2 days. That hunt, The first wolf bounty was issued in Massachusetts colony in 1630. This bounty started a 350-year-long campaign to stamp out the wolf. And this is a thing that is still happening today. Any questions up to this point? Rhyme, I don't know what that means, but I don't think we need that. Guys, last Friday was really bad in my life. If there are issues, I just want to say that you will be asked to stop. If that doesn't stop it, you will be put into a timeout, and then you will possibly be reported. So my goal is not to go there. Any questions on the wolf so far? And also, if you are just coming in, my family was doing an activity, a cookout, and I had live at 6 that I couldn't reschedule. So if you see me eating, it's because I have to eat. So we are talking about the gray wolf tonight in our Learn to Care series. We, being European descent people, saw them as a threat to our livestock and even to us, because in Europe, they look at them as a icon of evil in some places. Theodore Roosevelt said about the wolf that it was the beast of waste and desolation, and he actually called for the eradication of the wolf. Now, this was a president who is known for his efforts in conservation, and yet he still was more than willing to get rid of the wolf. There was a superintendent back when Yellowstone was first developed or came to be. And in his annual report, this is what he said. The value of their hides, there being coyotes and wolves. So the value of their hides and their easy slaughter, with poisons. They would poison the carcass and leave it out. Has nearly led to their extermination. So they would poison the carcass of an animal. The wolf would come and feed off of it, and in the process poison themselves. The problem is that it didn't just hurt the wolves, it hurt other animals as well. Bears, coyote, ravens, eagles, foxes. So eventually that was stopped. In some areas, we hunted their prey species to the point where they had to get food somewhere. And so they were killing off, they started turning to livestock. From 1880s to 1965, bounties were placed on the wolf. And these bounties ranged from $20 to $50 per wolf. In 1906, the U.S. Bureau of Biological Survey, a group called to research birds and insects, partnered with the U.S. Forest Service to basically clear the cattle ranges of the wolf. And by the time the middle of the 20th century came, we had basically wiped out the wolf in the lower 48 states. The wolf did gain federal protection, though, in 1973. Any questions about anything that I've talked about so far? How's everybody doing? Hi, Tony, Uncommon Henry, Michelle, Ryan. Thank you for coming out. I hope you guys are listening and learning a little bit. So rather than get into all of the stuff that we're doing to save the wolf, I thought we would talk about wolf reintroductions. And of course, the big one is Yellowstone. So in 1872, the park had wolves. And then between 1914 and 1926, at least 136 wolves inside the park were killed. By 1926, the last wolf pack in Yellowstone was wiped out. By the 1940s, wolf packs in the park were rarely reported. Meaning that you would get transient wolf packs maybe coming through. And in the 1970s, there was no evidence of wolves being in Yellowstone. In 1975, they began the groundwork for what would be an eventual return of wolves to Yellowstone. Then in 1992, zero evidence of any breeding wolves in the park. Then between 1995 and 1996, 31 wolves from Canada were relocated into the park. And then later in 1997, 10 more wolves from Montana were brought into the park. And this came with a lot of disagreement from ranchers They also had some legal hurdles to jump through because people were literally trying to block the introduction or the reintroduction. But as of 2024, there are at least 124 wolves in Yellowstone, with 10 packs being reported. Now, Colorado has brought 10 gray wolves onto public lands, and the goal was to have 10 to 15 wolves reintroduced by March of this year. Now, the AZA zoos, that is the big zoos, they are breeding wolves, but their focus is on the Mexican gray wolf, which is which is a subspecies of the gray wolf. You can see them at Brookfield Zoo, the Utica Zoo, the Stone Zoo, and there are other zoos that also house wolves, and you can see them there too. I hope that you've come away learning a little bit about the wolf today. We can stay and we can chat. I don't have a problem with that, but I need to change the way I'm sitting. Hey, everybody. How is everyone doing this Saturday night? If you're just coming in, my family had a party and I had to do live, so I left early to come and do live with y'all. How is everyone? I'm good. Hi, Jet. I recognize you. How are you doing? If you're just coming in, I'm good. If you're just coming in, we were talking about the wolf tonight. And, yeah. We can keep that going or we can just chat. I basically finished just a few minutes ago. My family had a party, a little cookout. But I had live, so I left to come back. Hey, Carol. I finished with the wolf stuff, so we're just chit-chatting. It's okay. I can review the highlights. If that's okay with everybody else. We've had a few new faces tonight, but it's been really quiet. I have not seen Predecessors, so where is everybody from? Awesome. So the AZA does breed wolves, but it's a subspecies of the gray wolf. It is the Mexican wolf. And Brookfield Zoo actually has a breeding program. They have a pack. The Utica Zoo, the Stone Zoo, are all zoos that house them, and there are, of course, other zoos as well. If you look on the IUCN Red Book website, they are listed as a species of least concern. But if you look on the United States endangered species list, they're either threatened or endangered, depending upon where you live. In at least 46 states, it is considered an endangered species. That I don't know. Theodore Roosevelt, a president known for his conservation mindedness, said that the wolf was the beast of waste and desolation and should be eradicated. In Yellowstone, at one point, they were lacing carcasses of like deer or stuff like that, herbivores, with strychnine in order to get the wolves. Of course, they poisoned a lot of other animals with that, but yeah. So in Yellowstone, in 1872, the park had wolves. And then between 1914 and 1926, at least 136 wolves inside the park were killed. And the last wolf pack in Yellowstone was wiped out in 1926. By 1940, wolves or wolf packs were rarely reported. By the time the 1970s came, there were no wolves in Yellowstone. No evidence of wolves in Yellowstone. In 1975, they began to do the groundwork for returning wolves to Yellowstone. But it wasn't until 1992 and 1996 that we started seeing wolves being reintroduced. Cool. So they introduced 31 wolves from Canada, and then in 1997 they brought in 10 more wolves from Montana, and as of 2024 there were at least 124 wolves with 10 packs being reported. But there are still issues. No. The last confirmed gray wolf sighting in Indiana was in 2003. It was a yearling male, but it was found dead in east central Indiana. The wolf had traveled over 400 miles from northern Wisconsin. It had been shot with a rifle. Howdy. Find another job. Historic records for Indiana are somewhat scarce, but we know that Indiana was home to the gray wolf. Early European settlers eliminated the wolf from 1908, or by 1908, it was gone. There had been sightings. Oftentimes, what happens is they search for new territories. Young males will go out in search of new territories. And so we might get a wandering wolf. But these guys are often young males, but because there's no females, they don't stay. Yeah, I'm probably not the person you want to come looking for work advice. I don't know why. I mean, if my boss cut me short money, yeah. Gray wolves were designated again as a federally endangered animal. And it happened they were federally protected in 1967 and listed under the Endangered Species Act in 1973. gray wolves were reintroduced into Yellowstone in the mid 1990s. Breeding populations, though, have been found in California, Idaho, Minnesota, Michigan, Montana, Oregon, Washington, Wisconsin, and Wyoming. Sorry, I was eating. I don't usually do this, but yeah. So, um, the first bounty on wolves was started in 1630 in the Massachusetts colony. This set in motion a campaign by white men to basically wipe out the wolf from the country. Wolves were looked at as monsters. They were looked at as animal killers. I gotta be careful. We would unalive them because we were afraid. Not all of them, some of them. But across Europe, they were looked at as a vile creature. Now, a healthy wolf typically will not mess with people. But a sick wolf might go after I think so. Oops. Um yes. I don't know. Yes, there are wolves, but I don't know. I don't know their range in Europe. Yeah. Um Again, they were looked at as these horrible creatures. Yeah. Unfortunately, perception of the wolf for instance, in some places in the southwest United States, so like Arizona, New Mexico, we went in and we hunted a lot of the native wildlife, the deer and the antelope and the bison. What was the wolf left to hunt? So they hunted livestock. So if you were to go to Germany, wolf range is very minimal in Germany and generally confined to the east. They returned to Germany around the year 2000. So in Germany, they had between 500 to 1,000 and approximately 105 packs. Sorry, I'm eating. What? Oh, yeah. So in France, they're having animals from Italy migrate, and so they're getting wolves that way. Um, they had two animals show up in the southeast of France in 1992. The population is growing in France. It's estimated that they have 530 wolves, 530 wolves in France. But because of livestock being preyed upon, they face a little bit of illegal killing and livestock. Or a little bit of killing because they attack livestock. So in Italy, they are feeding on deer, wild boar, chamois, livestock, and unfortunately garbage. Their population in Italy is somewhere around 1,500 and 2,000 wolves living in Italy. Oh, sorry. That is actually fairly decent. Now, you're going to find them in the Alps, so like up in the mountains. Okay. But again, they do have illegal killing because of livestock killing. So, but in Italy, their population trend is actually on the increase. So, that is again very, very cool. Is there any other countries that you want me to look at wolf populations for? Yes. I am going to do Romania just because I can. So in Romania, they feed on roe deer, red deer, or elk, wild boar, and livestock. The wolf range is approximately 80% of the map shown. So that is pretty cool. The World Wildlife Fund estimates that there are between 2,300 to 2,700, but officials estimate that the number is closer to 5,800. What's the bad news, Alberto? Hungary? We will do Hungary. And their population trend is for it on the increase in Romania. So in Hungary, they are feeding mainly on wild boar and red deer. They live mainly in a national park, which is protected habitat. They have about 50 wolves, so not a lot. And their population trend is stable. Now, this information, it was last updated in 2020, so things could have changed since then. But yeah, that's Hungary. I wonder about Poland. So in Poland, They live in either the eastern or the southern portions of the country. However, 30% of Poland's wolf population is considered trans-border, so they may move between countries. They have a large food base for wolves, with their main prey being roe deer, red deer, wild boar, mufflin. If you don't know what mufflin is, it is bighorn sheep, or moose. Or elk, depending upon the name that you give it. Now, they do face habitat destruction, habitat defragmentation, as well as conflicts with humans over killing livestock. Their numbers are between 1,200 to 2,000. And again, their population is on the increase as well. I think so. I don't know. I have no idea what I want for Christmas. So, depending on where you live, wolves are making a comeback. I don't know what this year is going to bring as far as elections go, because people are changing things all over the place. I don't know if yeah, it sounds like it. Norway, again, 10%, they see a lot of fluctuations in Norway. So it shares a population of about 430 wolves with Sweden. So Norway is a little bit weird. Yeah. Now, I don't think that you will see wolves being re-established in Great Britain just because wolves can't as easily migrate to Great Britain. They would have to be brought in. I really wish people would quit sending off fireworks. I'm done with it. In a lot of places, wolves have been wiped out. Not from what I was just reading. Wolves in Europe and as in North America come under fire because they will occasionally feed on livestock. Which isn't cool. And so you will get people that will go out and kill the wolf. Another thing to consider is like here in the United States. Yeah, but they cross over from Sweden and Norway So they migrate between the two countries. Um, it depends on the country. Europe is beginning to get wolves into some of the countries. They are not up to the numbers that they once were. Um, Great Britain, I don't think has wolves. I don't know. So India has a wolf, and they call them the Indian wolf. But I don't know if they are a I don't have a scientific name for them. The Indian wolf is smaller, has shorter hair, and it commonly has a brownish hue. Well, that doesn't surprise me. But then again, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that. But that's pretty good. I know they had wolves that were creeping into Chernobyl, so different countries do have different wolves, but in a lot of cases they are subspecies of the gray wolf. Wow, very cool. I wish we could see those numbers here in the United States, but I really don't see that happening. I really, really don't. Um, Guys, I need to run downstairs and grab me a drink. I will be right back. I'll hurry back. I'm back. I don't know if I have. I will look. In 2020, the lower 48 had more than 6,000 wolves. But yeah, they have changed laws and reworked laws, and I don't know. I'm getting, in total population, the gray wolf population in the lower 48 states is more than 6,000 wolves, greatly exceeding the combined recovery goals for the northern Rocky Mountains and the western Great Lake populations. So, that was from the National Fish and Wildlife. 20, and that was in 2020. But it's been listed for 45 years, and they're still having issues. Trump announced, the Trump administration and its many conservation partners are announcing the successful recovery of the gray wolf and its delisting from the ESA, so the Endangered Species Act. So they delisted it. So I don't know if it's been relisted. Yeah. Because there are states where they allow hunting. Wisconsin allowed a hunting season on the wolf that resulted in 218 wolves being killed. It was more than the state intended to be killed. That hunt took out 20% of the population in that state. So there are states that are allowing hunting. Hi, Alberto. Yeah, but Alaska is also a lot of wild spacings, or a lot of wild space, so there's that. Actually, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Minnesota have the largest populations outside Alaska. Wow. I had no clue. No, I don't think so. Well, yeah, I couldn't remember if they had been. If I had to guess, though, I would have said yes. I'm ready for a nap. By the way, for those of you who care, there will be a new video up tomorrow. So, new video up tomorrow. I still need to do some artwork. Really? Yeah, it's on you. It's on the American bison, so yes. Red wolves, though, are red wolves are not a subspecies. See, here's the difference, though, okay? Red wolves are not a subspecies of gray wolf. They are their own species, is what I'm getting. That they're smaller than a gray wolf, but larger than a coyote. But they're more closely related to gray wolves than they are, or I'm sorry, I got that wrong. They're more closely related to gray wolf. Sorry, they're more closely related to coyotes than they are to the gray wolf. Sorry, guys. It was a late night last night. The eastern wolf, they aren't sure. I am. I called a friend at like, I don't know what time it was. At like somewhere between 9:30 and 10ish, and we didn't hang up until after 1 o'clock. I was so tired, I didn't even turn off the light. I just went to sleep. The red wolf's scientific name is Canis rufus. Yeah, I do. I still have to do the bulletin. I just don't have to do talks. But I still have to do it. The good news is my lesson is done. Yeah. Yeah. I wish I had my life back. Actually, Carol, I'm really glad that I didn't change the time on live. If nobody else has anything that they have questions on, yeah. If nobody else has any questions on the wolf, I may go. I want to thank everybody for coming out. We supposedly have 9 people in right now. But I don't know if I believe that. We had very little problems. I don't know how far I can scroll up. Can I scroll up? Anybody know if you can scroll up on this thing? I had a question on chat. But I guess... Yeah, I do need to go because my Chromebook is about to die. So, I need to go, guys. I will talk to everybody. What is today? The 6th? At least on Tuesday. Clark, what are you talking about? That's nice. I'm That's wonderful, Clark. But I wouldn't be shouting it out for the world. Unless you're calling somebody in live that. And then that would get you in trouble. Carol, no. I wanted to have fun. Aw. Now I gotta wait 10 minutes. Now I gotta wait 10 seconds. I want to see if he starts it back up. We don't play Fortnite. Coulter? I see that he's back. Coulter. When you come into my lives, that type of talk will get you removed from live for 24 hours. I have no idea, Nkit. No idea at all. I just want to remind everybody that when you come into my live, it is not a democracy. You are not allowed to come into my live and do whatever you want. Or talk however you want. It is a safe place, and it will remain a safe place. Insults will land you in timeout. Have a good night, Carol. I'm out. I see no reason to stay. Good night, Carol.